questions on which square is the white king.
E1. Correct, no?
Correct. Which square is the white queen?
D1.
Okay. And as you will figure out, if H1 is white, then so is F1, D1 and B1. If G1 is dark, then so is E1, C1 and A1. This is just to help you set up your pieces. So remember, the first rank is for white. The right hand corner has to be H1, and that is where the rook is. For black, same arguments, everything, but because black is sitting opposite you, his right hand side is also white.
Okay.
But that's the queen's rook. Another way, if I could boil it down to one step, remember your own queen is on its own color.
So
the white queen will be on a white square, which is D1. The black queen will be on a black square, which is D8.
We used to always get confused whether it was the queen or the king, and we used to always keep it inverted, and you would patiently, each and every time, you would come and, tell me that, no, it's not like this. Now I understand the fundamental. Thank you.
So your own queen, if that helps you remember. The rook always moves in straight lines.
Okay.
It can go straight forward, straight sideways.
Okay. Okay.
And all of the pieces can go forwards and backwards.
Okay.
That is the only difference. That is the main difference between the pieces and the pawns.
I remember they always call you Mr. Knight because you're very dashing with the knights.
Yes. And just like we don't go around saying check and checkmate, little snob tip.
I know, you should not say horsey.
Please don't say horsey.
This also I learned in my first 2 months of marriage.
Yes. Please don't say horsey, as much as I love it to hear that. But so the knight is a very unusual piece. It is in terms of distance, it is the weakest of the big pieces, or the pieces, and these are pawns. But it's got one superpower. So the knight goes 3 squares in the shape of an L. Now we get to an even more special. The units, pawns. So here each pawn is measured as 1. But boy, they're strange creatures. They have a lot of strange additional rules. For the first class, let us just focus on how they move and how they capture.
So what is exactly the purpose of playing chess? Like, how do you know that you have won or you have lost in a game of chess? How do you know, like, okay, at this point I have lost?
The only way to lose a game of chess, or to put it the other way, the only way to win a game of chess is to give checkmate to the king. Now, very often in tournaments, people will resign well before. And sometimes it's enough to do something in order to provoke a resignation. But that is because they are filling in the gaps mentally. Both sides recognize that there is no need to make the remaining moves, that the process to the checkmate is obvious, and therefore one side will tip. But in fact, there is only one way to win or lose a chess game, which is by checkmate. There is also the possibility to lose on time. But again, that's not entirely pertinent to learning the rules of the chess.
Okay, so I'm sure many of the viewers, including me here, we've all watched the Queen's Gambit. So let me ask you a Queen's Gambit related question. So do you actually say checkmate? Have you ever said it in a big game?
No. When you're young, when I was 6 and I had just learned how to play chess, of course, it's the only moment in the game I lived for. But very soon, you get into the convention of not saying check. I mean, if you say check, then everybody assumes you learned the game a few days ago and that you're very young.
Okay.
In fact, people will be offended if you pointed out to them during a game that it is check, and even more offended if you pointed out that it's checkmate. It's simply not something you do. And nowadays, because an illegal move can even win you the game, it's not a good idea to mention that the opponent is in check.
Okay.
If they, in the faster time controls, if you just make a move, then you can point out that the king is in check and claim the point. So it's not even a good idea.
Because so saying checkmate is just plain boast value then.
Absolutely. It's the moment we live for when you're young and you're supposed to grow out of it at some point.
Okay.